we're down to 3, led by Pavel Brut, Pierre Roland of France, and Marcus Foten here at the rear. German rider on cue, our caption generated, reminding us who they are. No results for Marcus Foten this year, but we must never forget that he started out life as the world champion in the under-23 time trial category, so he can ride a good time trial. That was back in 2003, and again, like Gilbert, on the strength of that performance, he turned professional in 2004. He's only ever raced on the Gerolsteiner team. There'll be a new team for him next year because Gerolsteiner lead the sport this year. But it's such a good squad, I can't believe that Hans Holster will not find a new sponsor for him. So that's Marcus Foten, 27 years of age this year, in September. 1:36, so it looks as though a little bit of a faltering of the ways here for Gilbert. On the right side of our screens here, he's really put himself out into no man's land here. There's still a long way to go. At La Redoute, you come through the town of Remerchon, across the village of River Bridge. On the eve of the Liège, in the years gone by, they used to have a criterium in Remerchon, but I'm not sure whether that still happens. It's a beautiful little town, and there's one or two nice hotels there. A good base, by the way, if you're ever planning on watching Liège, because you're right in the Ardennes for an immediate bike ride, straight up the hills and in the country. I suggest you don't turn right and go up La Redoute until you've warmed up, because it is a very steep climb, 25%. And just when you think it can't get any harder, it does. But once over the top, you're on a lovely plateau, and it's a beautiful area. Oh, sit down feed in 500 metres. Nobody's going to be stopping here. These boys are heading for home as fast as they can go now, 59 kilometres to go. And they've pegged Gilbert, he's not getting any closer. Late afternoon now, 4 o'clock. Liège-Bastogne-Liège, been on the road since mid-morning, having left the Place Saint-Lambert, heading back to Ans, different place where we go back to, on the other side of the river. He settled back in, got a lovely position there, and he really settles down to some hard work here. Meanwhile, Kjell Karlström hasn't given up either. But according to our screen there, he's 30 seconds now behind Gilbert. Former national road race champion of Sweden, Karlström. Of Finland, I beg your pardon. Different country, same place. Up in Scandinavia, that. He's really committed himself as well now, and he's lost the wheel on that climb as Gilbert, who was just too strong up the hill. Just see here as he relaxes a little bit here, just quite what his decision is, but I think it'll be to pedal along and see what happens from the back. There's no point in going back to them, they may as well let them race up to him. Gilbert's got other thoughts. Remember, he's heading now towards the climb of La Redoute. 57 kilometres to go. La Redoute comes at 226 kilometres into the race, so still a little way to go. Peloton are slipping away, they're out to 3 minutes, and quite frankly Gilbert's getting no closer now to the 3 riders up front. Another nice big crowd here as he swings around. The 3 boys have gone through the feed. Wise to take it on board now, because they've done an awful long way out front today. Hats off to them for that, I must say. But they might be starting to regret it very shortly. Foten wrestling with his musette here, and then taking out what he fancies, and then Musette will go to the nearest souvenir hunter. It's a novel place to keep it, I must say. Marcus Foten, there's the bag gone. Guarantee it will hardly hit the ground here in Belgium before it's whisked away. Pavel Brut in the yellow for Tinkoff, no stranger to lone breakaways or small leading groups, so he's happy enough right now. Still always looks as though he's in full flight with that style he has. Also cramming the food down, wise man. And Pierre Roland, well, he's a new boy on the block for Crédit Agricole. He turned pro last year, he's only 21 now, so they've plucked him off a very young street indeed. And this has been a big effort for him today. And really, I think he's the strongest of the three riders. There's the spread, if they've got the energy to read that. There's a rather lot of writing on there. And Gilbert still on his own. The crowd recognising him, cheering him. They'll be listening to the coverage on the car radios, I'm quite sure, before the riders come up here. Well, I think Gilbert probably playing to the crowd here, and I can't think of another reason why he's gone quite so early. Maybe he wasn't confident that he could climb away from the field on La Redoute. Might take too many of the projected favourites with him. Let's not forget that as the result last year, the vast majority of the top 10 riders are here. No, we don't have the winner, Danilo De Luca, but really, apart from the retired Michael Bogart, all of the others are here. Cunego, Kirkin, Rebellin, Bettini, Frank Schleck, Valverde, all taking part. And frankly, we haven't seen them the whole day. But I wouldn't reckon the day will pass by without seeing them soon. As we said, we've got La Redoute to come. And that's where they've got to make the move. And then they're quickly followed by a fairly average road, good clean road ascent of the Côte de Sprimont. And then the new climb, which I personally have never seen, it replaces the Sarthe-Tillemont as the Roche aux Faucons. And they say its steepest part is 18%, and that's going to hurt the boys. We'll see. The main fielder in the feeding zone. Always a little bit dangerous, especially at the back of the peloton. You see the fallen cans there. So easily cause a crash. But there's Roland. He's finally got his food out and thrown the bag away as well. And we're off in search of La Redoute now. And still, they've held Gilbert at around a minute and a half for an awful long way now, ever since he put his move in, which is on the Haute Levée. Beautiful chateau of the Ardennes. Looked to be in absolutely perfect condition. We're on to the Vecche now, 5.9%, 3.1 kilometres the climb. That's the average, by the way. It kicks a little bit steeper than that. Now let's see if anybody else is set to crack here. I've got a feeling Foten isn't feeling that good at all. He's been at the back for quite a way now. Roland seems to be the strongest of the three. Brut is content to also follow the young Frenchman's back wheel. That's why I think they may have a find here in Pierre Roland. Now, where is Karlström? Apart from being just off the front, I think the peloton must be closing in on him now as he starts the climb here. Never seen Heidner, Cadel Evans either, who's had this fabulous start to the year, and really he's going to go into the Tour de France this year as the outstanding favourite, I think. It will not be an easy Tour de France to predict, but his start has been so good. He was third overall in the Route del Sol, which is a good starter in February. Then he won at Mont Ventoux, which had to be a big morale booster in Paris-Nice on the fourth stage of that event. And then he went on to win overall and the stage of the Coppi and Bartoli race in Italy. Second overall in the Tour de Pays Basque in northern Spain. He's already finished second midweek in Flèche Wallonne as well, so He's showing a terrific form that I don't think we've ever seen from him before. We'll see. Maybe we'll see him towards the end. If he's going to go, like all of the stars, they're going to go by the time they get to La Redoute. A little bit of excitement at the front there. One or two riders sprinting through. Visconti down there as well. This is Gilbert back with those legs. Still looks pretty cool. Probably looking out for all his friends along the way. 2:26 over the third group. That'll be, I presume, Karlstrom. I think, judging by the earpiece there, he was receiving some instructions there from his manager. He certainly climbs well, doesn't he? Keeps a big rhythm going here. This is a fast climb, this one. Using the big chain wheel. Good rhythm on the climbs. Sun right on his back here as he climbs up the Côte de la Vecchie. 209 kilometres covered. Total distance 261 kilometres today. It's a real classic distance. Meanwhile, further up the same climb, about a minute and 16 seconds further, I guess. Pavel Brut has got to the front here now. Roland still doesn't look under any pressure. He's a big boy, isn't he? Sits on that bike. And Marcus Foten sits in number 3 wheel, and that's where we've seen him every time we've joined the leaders. But now it looks like Cadel Evans has told his riders to start riding at the front here now. And again, he's got Popovic up there. Sonia Duval also moving a man into the thick of the action. Not too sure who that rider is from Rabobank. I say not too sure. He's got the riding style of Oscar Freire, but I can't believe Freire's up there. Now this is really strung out. This is the push here coming on this Côte de la Vecchie before we get to La Redoute. I think that split the peloton, that effort. See if our helicopter pulls back a little bit, because this has been a very serious effort here, and it's been done by Cadel Evans' team. But once over the Vecchie, about a 15-kilometre charge to Remerchon, and then we're on to the La Redoute, Sprimont, and the new climb itself. It would just be nice if the camera could swing on that helicopter and show us, because I think the peloton has cracked here. Terrific pacemaking. I think it's Jaroslav Popovic who's doing all of the work down there. Meanwhile, up at the front, not looking quite so sprightly, but Roland has gone back and is prepared to drive this. But Gilbert, rather painfully, I have to say, is closing in. Look, 68 seconds for Philippe. So this is a sensible catch. He's not committing suicide to cross the gap and go into the red zone. He's just going across at his own pace. He'll accelerate on the climbs and close the gap a little bit more there. Clearly on the climbs, this is when he starts to make inroads. And having said that, he's just lost 2 seconds. Only 1 now. It's about this stage of the escape where I often wonder what riders think to themselves. Have I done the right thing or the wrong thing? And in all honesty, it's that stage of the race where you don't know whether you've made a mistake. But you've still got 53 kilometres to go and 1 or 2 walls sitting out in front of you. Time to dip into that suitcase, I guess. Still Marcus Foten sat at the back of the race here. Looks a little bit slower, and that's the catch of Karlstrom down there. Look, he's been swept up by the hard-riding boys from Silence Lotto. That's making the statistics a little bit easier to understand. 1:07. Gilbert being told he's at 1:30 something, 37 I think it was, so he's a bit closer than that board is telling, but there's a delay, of course, while the timekeeper logs the times and then catches up with all the riders. The time's already changed. It is a very difficult climb with some kicks of around 25-26%. The thing is that there'll be a huge crowd there as well, and we'll see the motorway will be blocked with vehicles. It becomes a big car park on the day. There's the gap though, 1 minute and 3 seconds back to Gilbert now. And the peloton, I think, must surely be closing in on them all. Well, there's the peloton hotly pursuing Philippe Gilbert on this long straight over the top of the Levecque. 51 kilometres to go, 1 minute and 2 seconds. This has been a very difficult chase for Gilbert, and he must be wondering what's going on here, because these three boys have really stuck to the guns. I think Foten, as we've seen, has been a passenger for some distance now. He's tired. Pavel Brut helping out when he can, particularly on the climbs, but Pierre Roland is the revelation, and he's driving again here. A Frenchman, a Russian and a German being chased by a Belgian, and then the whole pack, what's left of it. And somebody's tried to go up the inside of the press bike there, caught him off guard. Just good high-speed chasing, but nothing sensational coming from that peloton yet. They just want to keep this breakaway within shouting distance, I reckon, and then Laradoute will decide the move. A lot of riders, especially the clever ones, have been out to see this new climb as well, the Côte de la Roche-aux-Faucons, and so they know how hard it is, and one or two are reckoning it is very hard. And CSC has gone off on the move down there. And in fact, this here is Kolobnev, yes. Another Russian. Alexander Kolobnev, interesting move this, to try and soften them up perhaps, to leave perhaps a springboard for somebody like Carlos Sastre or Frank Schleck. Frank Schleck was third in this race last year. Second in the World Road Race Championships a couple of years ago, Kolobnev in Spain. He's got a good reputation in the World Championships. He was 7th in 2005 as well. He's been the National Road Race Champion of Russia back in 2004. That was when he finished 10th in the Olympic Games in Athens. Got him the ride, actually, winning the title. And when he turned pro